everybody. You're officially listening to Planet Green Trees Radio, episode number 201, calling it Political Cannabis with Mark Brewer. Although many new topics have developed, and we've got a lot of different things to talk about tonight, but it will be entertaining, I guarantee you. The call number is 1-347-326-9626. And, of course, in the studio with me to bring you the most entertaining and up-to-date, informative, provocative information about cannabis and cannabis reform, politically, socially, morally, ethically, religiously, militarily, and all of that. It's going to be strong tonight because we got a lot of it. Chad from the Birmingham Compassion Club.
Good evening. It's nice to be here.
The one and only blogger from the Compassion Chronicles, the editor-in-chief, and so much more, the news editor of Planet Green Trees, Rick Thompson.
Hey, it's me.
And, of course, the producer of Planet Green Trees, responsible for all the outstanding content and putting the guests together, and especially the list tonight, hooking all that up, our good friend and colleague, Jamie Lowell from the Third Coast Compassion Center.
Hello.
Well, as I said, we got a wild show, and calling it Political Cannabis tonight. Amongst other things we're going to be talking about, many of you may know there's a debate and subsequent potential vote is expected to take place before the end of the broadcast. A proposed amendment to a spending bill by 6 Republicans and 6 Democrats led by Representative Dana Rohrabacher, good friend of mine, I know her name well, to disallow the Department of Justice, including the DEA and federal prosecutors, from using our taxpayer monies for funding and going after medical cannabis in states that have chosen to allow it. The local cannabis legalization effort in Oak Park, which has been headed up by Deborah Young and Andrew Sissel of the Safe Oak Park Coalition, is being compromised by the local officials in Oak Park who claim that they cannot validate the issue for ballot until the Attorney General approves the language, and that the lack of response from the Attorney General has caused the issue to have, which should have been voted on in November as a general election, to not make it onto the ballot. Is that right?
It was supposed to be on the August primary.
But instead it's
election.
Going to be on the November.
Well, that's what they are saying now, but that's one of the reasons why they're forcing this lawsuit.
And that, of course, is the legal issue that we're going to explore tonight. There's also going to be a court hearing, I understand, in front of Rayleigh Chabot, Judge in Oakland County Circuit Court, starting tomorrow at 9 a.m. Is that right? Wow. And we're going to have the lawyers and participants on it. In fact, joining us tonight will be the one and only, I like to call him the Godfather. I like to admit that he listens to the show occasionally, and I think last week he called in and actually says very nice things, but I know him as the Godfather. Tim Beck, really one of the originator of the cannabis reform movement in Michigan, goes back as far as 2004. There's a lot of tons of successes and has been really one of the core principal operators along with Chuck Ream, and every year picking various states and claiming that the voters want legalized cannabis and then pulling it off consecutively, consistently in every state that they've tried. And I think his mantra is it's very important that we win in every city. And he is very interested and obviously is going to comment on his thoughts of what kind of shenanigans are taking place in Oak Park. But you know, if you hear about our Attorney General being involved or not being involved, there's going to be shenanigans. We're also going to hear from the lawyer who was hired by Safe Mich against Oak Park, Mark Brewer, who is an attorney, political consultant, and member of the Democratic National Committee, is a former chair of the Michigan Democratic Party and a past chair of the Association of State Democratic Chairs. He recently joined the distinguished law firm of Goodman, Acker. Also, because there isn't going to be 1 second of uninformative information, Hunter Holloman, the National Field Coordinator for the pro-medical cannabis organization Americans for Safe Access, he's also going to be joining us to update us and explain the potential pro-medical marijuana activity in Washington, D.C. today, and hopefully we'll even have some statistics on how the vote is going. There was some reaching out. We're going to try to get a couple of cancer patients who are been involved in witnesses in a case that I was involved in. We're not sure yet, but if we get notice that we're going to get them on the air, they are going to be testifying and attesting to the miracles of cannabis and how it has helped their cancer in both the treatment of some of the symptoms associated with the treatment of cancer as well as curing it, they say. we're going to get to that a little later. First, I want to do a couple of shout-outs of thanks and gratitude to, first, my good friend Dewey and Pam. Dewey, we had a rough day today. We had a rough week. You have a well-deserved vacation, paid for by Komorn Law, sponsored by Komorn Law. No, I'm just kidding. But what a day today. The whole day with Brewer today, outrageous, wasn't it? No, I'm just kidding. My good friend David Urdoy and I were up in Grand Rapids, and Dewey was kind enough to escort us. And, of course, Pam has been participating in all the legal activities. All people should be 100% confident that Pam's assistance is helping your legal case. Also, Komorn Law, 1-800-656-3557, the Michigan Medical Marijuana Association. I want to thank the moderators and administrators for helping create a safe and comfortable environment for the medical cannabis community to learn, educate, and evolve the conversation about medical cannabis and cannabis reform. The Marijuana Rancher, I don't have his number present in front of me, but say it enough, and call if you want to have a cultural tour of the Marijuana Ranch given by the rancher himself. And, of course, Greenlight Clinic, Dr. Kumar Singh, say week after week, the importance of the bona fide doctor-patient relationship. I had a struggle the last couple of weeks dealing with one of the most outrageous rulings I've ever had, and even moving beyond the concept of follow-up care, the requirements being placed on a doctor far exceed anything a physician was ever intended to be required to do for a recommendation. But if you're going to try to stay out of trouble, or even if you prepare the best that you can to not get in trouble, and you find yourself having a law enforcement encounter, there are no guarantees that your card is going to prevail, and it is imperative for you to know at least that if and when you have to go to court and defend yourself, one of the critical issues is going to be who's your doctor, who made the certification, and are they willing to come to court and make the case for you. If you're going to pay $30, pay the cheapest price you can, and you're going to get a card to defend yourself, it's not a good play. Additionally, I just want to set rumor and really slanderous statements that were being made to Dr. Singh from a very, very evil competitor, and what I can only describe as under par performance. But the idea that this follow-up care is something that is motivated by price, motivated by the desire to make money, is comical. I actually heard a recording that someone had made to evidence the certification center that is giving out advice over the phone that the law does not require follow-up. I'll say it again, that the law does not require follow-up is what is being stated by some of these certification centers. How do I know that? Because I heard a recording of it. I heard them announce their name, I heard them announce their purpose, and I heard them talk another patient seeking to become certified out of going to another clinic or attempting to, because they were told by this clinic that the follow-up care is not necessary, that nowhere in the laws are required. In fact, what had happened is the patient on the phone said, well, I went to this website, michigangov.org, and I was looking at the LAR and the medical marijuana program. They said something about reasonable expectations of follow-up care and medical efficacy. Oh, we've never had a problem with that. What that means is they're not coming to court with you. It's not their problem, it's your problem. Don't pay them for the follow-up. Pay them for a one-time certification for the next 2 years, and you might as well shred it because it's going to be of no value to you. All right, so that's not even the rant. I just wanted to talk about the importance of the services being offered by our friend Dr. Kumar Singh, qualified as an expert in medical cannabis in Oakland County Circuit Court. I don't know that any other physicians can say that with any honesty. All right, so I'm halfway into what sounds like a rant, but I am going to rant for a second about an important legal issue that I've been fighting, and I'm in the middle of a trial that we're going back next Tuesday. But it involves an interesting dynamic in our culture, our legal system, our American jurisprudence. And it's the idea that the government, the police, and whether or not they have limitations on their authority. You know, day in and day out, we get calls in our office of the government entering homes with a search warrant, getting authorization from a detached and neutral magistrate to execute search warrant, seize property, and arrest individuals that are located therein. This is where the rubber meets the road. Is that the thing I'm looking for? And really an interesting dynamic because allegedly we live in America. Well, we live in America. And allegedly America as a democratic society purports to have freedoms. We're free from the government to a certain degree. It's a lawful society, it's not lawless, and the dynamic that we struggle with using the Constitution as our guiding force is, where does this interaction end? Where does the government's line get drawn in terms of how they can interact with the citizens that are free? And at what point does their authority become limited? Is it unlimited authority? In other words, if they are acting in a way that is mistaken, does a individual who's encountering the police have a reason to put their hands up and question the authority? Can I see the search warrant officer? Can I ask you why you're here? Can I ask you why you're arresting me? I mean, if an officer is, for example, arresting someone because in that they're not going to let you use the New Testament, you're going to pray to Jesus, it's against the law. You telling me that the church members can't throw up their hands and say, wait, what's going on? You can't arrest me for this. Or an officer comes to the door and says, come outside, I need to talk to you, and you shut the door in his face. Is that a response that isn't warranted, or a person can't participate? I mean, is there ever a time that our so-called law enforcement community, allegedly designated and designed to protect and serve, is there any limitations to are they ever wrong in the course of interacting? And if so, what does a citizen, what are they allowed to do? I'm litigating this issue. It's kind of interesting because as we pick the jury, hearing the responses from the panel, people don't think in terms of a lot of people don't think in terms of it being a police state. A lot of people rely on and want to rely upon the law enforcement community to be the ones that they can rely on for their protection and safety. And that's really their job, But when you live in the court system and challenge the Constitution every day, you understand that it's not always a perfect government that's acting, that a lot of times they do make mistakes. And the rules that allow them to permeate the Constitution, to overcome these constitutional protections of to be free, your papers, your office, your home, and how those protections are going to hold up to the government's desire to get in and see what's going on inside your home. I mean, at the end of the day, our country was founded on the concept of resistance. We were sick and tired of paying taxes. We're sick and tired of the government coming into our homes. We're sick and tired of not being able to own property, to sell and trade and buy what we wanted to and not have tariffs. I mean, it was a resisting community that drew up that hemp paper with all those constitutional principles. And the most important of all of them was the right to be free from government searches within your home. It's a place that was designated for you to be able to run into, to retreat into, away from anybody else. It's where you can copulate. It's where you can talk to your wife or your kids or your friends and say whatever you want to, because it's a protected area. They can't come in because they don't like what you're doing in there and arrest you unless they have a lawful reason. And there are a number of different reasons why individuals may want to resist. I'm not recommending it. I'm not suggesting this is a policy that people want to employ, generally speaking. It's just a dynamic that varies, obviously, from individuals' experiences in the world. I think people who are engaging in medical cannabis, just because of the way the Michigan Medical Marijuana Act has been implemented, and it's in all the challenges that have taken place and all the letting down that people have found in the act not protecting them, those individuals, I think, are a little bit more aware of this government and the government in terms of their view of marijuana. And despite the fact that it's a medicine, they're still going to be called criminal. So there's a different level of knowledge and education and trust, I guess, because of the realities of some of these truths of it's just a plan and it's a medicine, it's not a Schedule I. And how could you believe in the agents that are holding that out as a truth? There's a recent case that promulgates all of this. It's a Michigan Supreme Court case. It's not important what its name is, but it's an interesting issue. It's called People versus Moreno, for anyone that's taking notes at home. But it's a principle that really questions, are there circumstances wherein there may be a right of an individual citizen, United States citizen, to resist the authority of the police? And in this particular case, they say, in fact, there is situations where that will happen. In fact, they say that the concept of resisting and obstructing, which is a statutory law that was written and purportedly overruled or vitiated the common law right for an individual to resist unlawful police conduct. In this case, examined that issue and said this resisting and obstructing statute that was written by the legislature does not vitiate or override the common law right to resist, in certain instances, privately protected areas, police officer's authority. And it's based on the principle of common law, because not too long ago, when common law was the law of the land before the statutes, we were much more aware of our protections. We were much more aware of government intrusions. I think where we live right now, the state of affairs has the benefit of the doubt going to the government instead of the benefit of the doubt going to the citizens, that this concept of getting into people's homes and overcoming the protections therein, its threshold has become way too low. And in closing, I would argue that, well, I'm not suggesting people start resisting police officers or start out a circumstance where they feel justified in resisting, because it's not a road you really want to be in. But in principle, it's an important concept. I think that it's critical in light of all of the developments against the constitutional protections over the years, all the taking away of the exclusionary rule, the exceptions to good faith police officer activity, not excluding evidence when there's an illegal warrant, where there's inevitable discovery of evidence that would normally have been suppressed because there wasn't a warrant. All these exceptions in bad police behavior that's developed. We have a case from the Michigan Supreme Court that says the police authority is not absolute. It is not always right. The police officers do make mistakes. Sometimes they lie even. And in those instances where they're acting unlawfully, United States citizens are entitled to resist, especially when they're in their homes. And you should view your home as your castle and a place that you can retreat. That was the intent of the founders of this country, and that's how you should look at it. And don't let any government agent, police officer or otherwise, tell you anything but that. All right, that's a wrap for right now. We got an exciting show. Mark Brewer is going to be on at 8:30. Hunter Holloman a little bit after that. Tim Beck, the Godfather. We're going to be talking about medical cannabis and cannabis, and we will be right back. Call numbers 1-347-326-9626. And we're going to be doing some news with Rick, I think, on the other side of these songs on the break. We'll be right back.